Welcome to Sensei Reality TV. Like and subscribe to the channel. We're gonna talk about Tupac, Amora Shakur, what movie, showcase his acting range, the best. Let's get off into it. Tupac Amara Shakur started first acting in the Performing Arts School in Baltimore, Maryland, where he grew up. And this is something that he really took serious at an early age, probably like at 15. And that school really taught Tupac a lot about the arts of acting. And me seeing the arts, really just showing off the details of just how serious it is when it comes down to this thing called acting, right? So, but through the timeline stamp passed on after he, attended the Baltimore and then the art school in Baltimore to pursue acting, to start doing it, taking it serious at an early age. It went down to the timestamp on into, if we're gonna go down to 1992 when Juice first released. Juice was the release date, and that was Pac's debut, first movie that he ever acted in. And this movie was just a warm up. It was just something to get his feet wet. Juice was one of those movies that you watch. And, it's like a movie that's within the community that we see going on every single day. You hanging out with your group of friends and things of that sort. And it really showed off of Pac's, angry side. And that wasn't really much to really showcase. But, when you think about it, it's showing off of his acting. And that's all we could really ask for when it comes down to that. So that first movie I feel with Juice is really stamped on that side of Pac. In which really in his music, we really heard a lot of that anger because of what he had to go through and things that he saw within his community in Baltimore and as well as in Oakland. But past that point, the next movie that Pac was in was that really showed off his range. And the movie I say that showed off his range as an actor the most was Poetic Justice. Poetic Justice was a movie that really captured different emotions from Tupac. It really showed that he can not only have an angry side, he can have an emotional, he can have a sad side, he can have a happy side. So that movie really, I feel stamped, his acting abilities as far as what he can bring on to the screen. And I really appreciated that because it really made me, when I was looking back at these movies, it really made me respect Pac as an actor that much more. And it really showed that he really took acting as serious, if not probably more serious than he did, I could say just as much serious, I probably believe, than his music, just as much. But I feel like Pac, his passion really relied on more, in acting than it did music. Because I feel like he started off with acting as far as with the art school he attended in Baltimore where he was raised. It really showed that his passion lied with acting first. And that was something I feel like that he would be doing in the long haul after he retired. Because I feel like when he was killed in 96, I feel like he probably had 3 more years, probably the most, left in him as far as music-wise. And I feel like he was going to start doing acting full-time after that. And there's some other things on the side, helping out within his community and things of that sort. But acting was something I feel like he was going to do full-time for the rest of his career because there was something that can really show off of, a side that a lot of people don't see, like with Poetic Justice. The ranging and different emotion that was, like I was saying, that was captured within that movie and that it showed that we didn't know that Pac had. So a lot of people just always thought Tupac only, had an anger side because it could be so easy for Pac to do because, he always angry. So when, he shut up those naysayers, when Poetic Justice dropped, they couldn't say nothing else. They couldn't say that Pac was just a one-sided actor. They couldn't say that, it's easy because he was able to just capture off of one emotion with, him being angry. He showed off of his emotions in different ways and different methods of what acting, had to bring with that movie Poetic Justice, with him being sad and, him being worried, those different type of emotions, and also happy, as well as, as I reiterate, along with the anger, frustration building up. You know, because frustration and anger is kind of like two different, me ways of being angry. You know, being frustrated, you're not really like fully like showcasing off 100% anger until it gets to that point. It's like a boiling point heading on to that, and he showed that as well in Poetic Justice. So it's really not nothing that he didn't, capture or showcased off in Poetic Justice as far as emotions, to show off his range and ability, you know. So that really put the stamp on it. It really put the stamp on it as far as like with his career, setting his career off into, taking it to that next level. Because when Pac, I feel like, as I was saying, 3 years that I feel like he probably had left in him, he probably would have retired in '99. And he would have continued to do acting full time. And I feel like Pac would have received Oscars, NAACP Image Awards, things of that sort, and many more awards on top of that. And that would have really because he had of course highlights within his music career, but I kind of feel like acting would have overtowered that. And with Above the Rim, him showing off happy different emotions with Above the Rim, it was like a happy versus anger situation with Above the Rim. It didn't really like capture the full acting that Pac could really showcase off with his different emotions. It didn't really capture all those aspects like Poetic Justice did. With Above the Rim, that was like shortly, I want to say after Poetic Justice. I think Above the Rim was in 95. 95, Above the Rim, 94, Poetic Justice, 92, Juice. Those were the release dates, of those movies being dropped. And Above the Rim really had him being like a low-key boss. It was nothing really too much to, showcase off with that in Above the Rim. So with that going off into the next movie, we had Gridlock. Gridlock was, I think, he shot that before he passed away. He shot Gridlock in 96. He shot Gridlock and Bullet in 96. Because Gridlock wasn't that much a movie that the budgeting wasn't that big, so it wasn't too much to be shot in Gridlock. It has a couple of locations, but Gridlock wasn't a long movie at all to make. That was probably like an hour and some change, maybe. And it really didn't have too many locations like shots or scene shots to really have to say you have to be over here, because it was just like a couple of months to make that movie. Probably like 3 or 4 months maybe to make Gridlock tops. And that also showed a range of Pac that we never seen him in, because in Gridlock, Pac was just that friend that's trying to kick off of being on heroin. And it was like functioning, him and his friend was like functioning heroin, users that you would never even know that they would, those characters in that movie, if you was like in that movie, didn't even look like they were even like addicts at all, because they was functioning addicts. So with that movie with Tupac played within Gridlock, that also showed that, his character can really like take it to the level to where Gang Related was one of the movies right here that really showed
he's
Pac,
doing that.
Acting side into ways we never seen before. He was like an undercover detective type
who
cop.
owes who what money, and
they was trying to clear up a lot of
place
things
when
on
you're trying to
how to
come clean.
And that showed off his acting side based upon
what
murder
he had to go through
within that
trying to like build up
a case to try to find clues upon them, like what happened in certain
what
events
was
to
the,
certain
happen
next with
connected
the character
to
or would they ever come fully
murder
clean,
or robbery,
things of that
something
sort.
like that.
So that really
was
showed
another great movie.
Pac, a different
And
side
Bullet
of Pac as well, another range. Was the
But it
last
didn't
movie
show
they did,
all
but,
ranges in one.
It was just like a frustration, angry.
This one right
cop
here, detective kind of thing. With gang related.
But Bullet right here is what you see is also was Pac's last movie, and that was just him being like kind of like the person who try to the negative individual that was on a mission to try to, you know, get something accomplished, get quick, fast money, whether he had to rob or whatever he had to do, hold a kid hostage. You know, that was kind of like, you know, one of the movies that Pac was like, you know, just on like, I don't give a damn. You know, he was just on that type of time with Bullet. And that was another movie that really showcased off a lot. But this is Sensei's Reality TV. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'll be back with more videos. Y'all already know what to do, man. One love. Peace.